It started with turbulence, not in the skies, but in the studio. The Tuesday morning broadcast of Live with Kelly and Mark began like any other. Kelly Ripa in a tailored blazer the color of champagne bubbles, Mark Consuelos with his signature charming smile and that "I woke up like this" hair. The couple, who've shared their lives on screen and off for decades, were bantering with the usual spark. But then, she said it. "I think we should consider having an airport divorce." The audience laughed. Mark blinked. And the camera operator did a slight zoom in, as if even they weren't sure this was still scripted. "Wait. What?" Mark said, laughing nervously. "Is that like a layover breakup? Do we split custody of the carry-on?" Kelly leaned into her mug, sipped dramatically. No, I mean a full airport divorce. You take Terminal A, I take Terminal B. We go our separate ways. You can keep TSA pre-check, I'll take the Delta Sky Club membership." The audience chuckled again, but now the laughter carried a question mark. Mark, still grinning but a little unsure, replied, "Honey, did we not have coffee this morning? Because you sound like you've been plotting this since security check." "Mark," Kelly said, turning to him with theatrical exasperation, "you refuse to follow the boarding instructions. Every time. Group 2 means Group 2. Not, I'm Mark from TV, let me just hover near the gate like a confused pigeon." He crossed his arms, mock-affronted. "It's called being efficient, Kelly. I like to be ready. I'm anticipating. Also, I don't hover. I loiter strategically." Kelly looked dead into the camera like she was Jim from The Office. "Ladies and gentlemen, this man once tried to board a flight during pre-boarding, because he felt like he qualified emotionally." The audience erupted. Mark leaned back in his chair, laughing. "Okay, I'm emotionally pre-boarding. That's pretty good." But Kelly wasn't done. "And let's talk about luggage," she said, turning back to him, pointer finger up like a lawyer delivering closing arguments. "You bring a full-sized suitcase for a 2-day trip. Then you act shocked when it doesn't fit in the overhead bin and we hold up the entire line while you try to negotiate with gravity." Mark held up both hands. "That was one time. It was last week." "Okay, but..." And then, she steamrolled on, "You spend 20 minutes at baggage claim interrogating strangers over black Samsonite suitcases because you're convinced someone took yours, which by the way has a neon pink luggage tag that says, Daddy's bag." The studio audience was now in full chaos, people wiping tears from their eyes. Even Mark had to pause, wiping his face from laughter. "Okay," he said, "first of all, that tag was your idea. It was a Mother's Day gift, Mark. Fine. And second, we're not getting an airport divorce. We're airport married. You can't just break up with me because I like to pack an extra pair of shoes." Kelly sighed and leaned back in her chair. "But it's not about the shoes," she said more seriously, in mock dramatic tone. "It's about what they represent. The shoes are a metaphor. For your inability to accept the realities of travel. For your resistance to boarding group hierarchy. For your chronic optimism that your 27-inch roller bag is going to fit in the overhead compartment like a miracle of physics." Mark took a breath. "So, the shoes are emotional baggage." "Yes," she said, "and I'm tired of carrying them." There was a long pause. Then the audience broke into applause, sensing the comedy gold that had just unfolded. Mark turned to the audience. "And this, folks, is what it's like to be married to a professional talk show host. I just got turned into an allegory for bad packing skills." Kelly smirked, triumphant. "But listen," he said, turning serious, or at least, TV serious. "If you're filing for an airport divorce, I demand an airport wedding renewal. At the Hudson News, in front of the Twizzlers. You bring the vows, I'll bring the neck pillow." Kelly put a hand over her heart. "That is the most romantic thing you've ever said." The audience awed. "But," she added, "you're still sitting in the middle seat next flight." Later that day, social media meltdown. By 2 p.m., #airportdivorce was trending. Clips of the segment flooded TikTok. Someone edited Kelly's boarding group rant over footage of people crowding the gate at JFK. Mark's emotionally pre-boarding line became a meme. Couples across the country were texting each other, "Are we due for an airport divorce?" You're definitely terminal or material. Let's never be group 5. One user posted, Kelly Ripa just verbalized every travel fight I've ever had with my husband in under 3 minutes. She's a national treasure. Another wrote, I've never felt more seen. My wife and I had an airport divorce in O'Hare back in 2019. We got remarried at the Auntie Anne's. Kelly, ever the queen of media, reposted that one with the caption, Auntie Anne's, where love gets twisted but always comes back. Back on air, the sequel. The next morning, Kelly and Mark returned to the set with oversized suitcases beside their chairs. Well, Kelly opened, Mark and I are still married. Despite his carry-on being the size of a small planet. Mark nodded, and Kelly has agreed to let me emotionally pre-board, as long as I don't talk to the flight attendant about the beverage options before we take off. Progress, she said, and just like that, America's favorite morning couple made fighting at the gate funny, lovable, and oddly, romantic. Moral of the story, there's no such thing as a perfect travel partner. One will always overpack, the other will insist the backpack counts as a personal item. One will breeze through TSA, the other will forget they left a bottle of shampoo in their carry-on and hold up the line for 6 minutes. But if you can get through the airport together, survive the delays, the gate changes, the middle seats, and still laugh afterward, you're probably more married than most, even without the Hudson News wedding vows. So, next time you're at the gate, and your partner is driving you nuts, just remember, airport divorces are temporary. But love, at least for Kelly and Mark, is boarding group 1.